So Tower Fantasy has been accused of repeated, deliberate negligence. They were called out initially for plagiarism, which they subsequently apologized for. They were then called out for asset theft, which they subsequently apologized for. They were called out for additional plagiarism. But Stix, that was in China. The global release is different. No, it isn't. Before we go any further, I just want to take a moment here to thank all of the absolute chads and chadettes that support this channel via Patreon. You're all freaking legends. Seriously, each and every single one of you. I would offer to give each of you a kiss, but I suffer from severe intimacy issues. Additionally, if you want to stay up to date with all the latest MMO gacha and gaming news, take a second here to follow Mrs. Stix and I over on Twitter. We tweet daily. Now, a few days ago, I did a video titled WTF, Tower Fantasy was caught stealing again. In this video, I went on to discuss how Tower Fantasy's newest event stole the currency icon from Fate Grand Order's St. Quartz. As you can see, as is evident on screen, all they did was take the model and alter the colors. I know this isn't necessarily going to bother all that many of you. There are plenty of you in the comments section of my video that were defending them, saying that this is a minor form of theft. But at the end of the day, theft is theft. Stealing is stealing. Abuse is abuse. Cheats, hacks, they are cheats and hacks. In no world does any artist want their work stolen without credit and then used for someone else's financial gain. Now, Tower Fantasy did not directly address this publicly. This time they chose not to publicly apologize for stealing the art from another game. Instead, they opted to, after being called out in video form across various different subreddits across social media, they opted to instead slightly alter the appearance of the icon. Now, to me personally, this is enough of an alteration. I feel like if the picture in the after were used as opposed to the picture in the before, which again is just a recolored version of the currency used in Fate Grand Order, this entire thing would have blown over. No one would have recognized it because this is different enough. Again, there were people in the comment section of my video that were claiming it's just a shape, but as is evident on screen, when you compare the two, you overlap them with one another, it is an exact replica. Now, there is a lot of hate going around across social media because this happened before. This happened in China. This happened repeatedly in China. So much so that, as you can see right here, the Chinese have a nickname for it. Tower of Theft. Again, the nickname Tower of Theft. Another mention of Tower of Theft. In a completely separate thread, Tower of Theft. This game is called Tower of Theft in China. That is how frequently the Chinese version of this game stole from other games. Now, I get it, in China, the law is a little bit more loose with plagiarism, with art theft, but outside of China, in North America, in Europe, in Australia, that is not something that we deem as acceptable. Thus, they were called out for it. They did fix the issue by altering the icon, but this is further proof that the global version of Tower Fantasy is utilizing the same level of malpractice that the Chinese version did, which makes sense because at the end of the day, they're still the same company. Many players are just under the delusion for whatever reason that this version is going to be different because it's global. But no, the game, now look, I'm not saying Tower Fantasy is a bad game. I'm not saying Tower Fantasy is not a fun game. The purpose of these videos are to call out bullshit when they happen. If we stay silent, nobody's gonna know about it, and then it won't get fixed. They'll continue stealing. These alterations won't be made. Do you want a crappier version of the game because we all remained silent? Do you want them to continue to steal, to plagiarize, and to abuse just because you don't want us talking crap about a game that you like? This is not acceptable. And none of us should want this from a game that we actively play. And I'm going to continue calling out everything that this game does wrong, because this game has potential. If it did not have potential, I would not be covering it. They need to step their game up, and they need to make sufficient, adequate improvements. Now, if you want to check out my previous video on this, I will have that on screen. All I need to do is click it. Alternatively, I have a video on screen detailing the most popular gacha games of 2022. These are the gacha games that everyone is playing currently, and that subsequently you should probably be playing too, because there's a reason that everyone's playing them, right?